Hey guys, welcome back. This is G from G Studio Productions, hitting you up with some other cool things that hopefully you get interested in and like. Right now, today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on a loop from a song from Nicole Malabo, a Kenyan girl artist, amazing person. So one of these guys just reached out to me, go, look, dude, can you show me something in a tutorial? All right, cool. I'll show you how to get the best out of a loop or a sample. That's the idea of today. That's what we're going to be doing. Let's kick it off.
I tried to paint the perfect picture. Say what? There was me, there was you, there was happy ever after. Yeah. I love black, he loved white, we much like a polka dot poster. Yeah, girl. What did I do to make him turn on me?
Okay, so pretty much we just got a loop with the other tracks, but the idea right now, I'm just going to take you step by step through how I'm going to mix a song. Firstly, I'm going to make the loop grouped from how they've sent it to me, which was a left and a right track, I presume, and just panned it and then grouped it into here. So pretty much I've got these two tracks, which are mono tracks, which I'm presuming are my left-right tracks, grouped it and busted out a bus called Loop Master into this track called Loop Master. So now these two tracks are being sent to this. That's the idea, that's what I'm doing. So let's have a listen to it. Okay, so as you can see and hear, sounds pretty good so far. But let's do our little shit to it to make it sound even better. Cool. Here we go. I'm going to add an EQ to this. API 550 bar waves. What I'm going to do is add 75 Hertz to bring in the thickness. So listen to the kick. Cool. Next thing I want to add is a 2.5K shelf to bring out the snare. I want to bring out the hi-hats. I want to bring out like a little bit more the percussion sort of feel of it. So this is a little bit more attack to make it sound a little bit more groovy. Alright, cool. Next thing I want to do is I want to bring out a little bit more of the snare crack, the way it hits. So what I want to do is go into the frequency here, 10K for 4 dB. Might be too much, let's see what we do. Alright, sounding a little bit like a bad boy right now. Let me add a plugin that will work totally different to how you normally do it. So with a compressor, you're adding the compression, the effects the compressor does. But what I want to do right now is I'm going to add an expander. So it's going to work opposite to a compressor, but in similar ways. This is a really good trick to make your samples pop out more and make it feel a little bit more alive, like someone's playing it or someone's really grooving into it. But this trick, trust me, put it on drums, put it on your synths, put it on MIDI hi-hats that just have the same velocity all the way through, and add this stuff through it, and then it'll make it pop and bounce. Good trick. So right now, we've got our expander. which is the R compressor by Waves. So what I'm going to do is reduce the threshold down. If I go down this way on the ratio, that means I'm compressing. If I go the other way, that means I'm expanding. So I'm working almost opposite to what a compressor is doing. Every time it wants to compress, I'm pushing it forward. So think of this as me giving it a little bit more life to things that are programmed, things that are loop-based, things that are very static. And then your attack and release works the same. So I'm going with this attack, this release, pulling the threshold down so it reacts, and the ratio up so it expands rather than compresses. Watch your ears just in case. Watch this stuff be very stagnant, very monotonous, has a groove that you think, but when we introduce this shit, boom, boom, boom. So when you have a listen to that, listen to almost like the snare, like being hit really hard, like boom, dun, dun, boom, like rather than a dun, 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 it's like boom, 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 boom. Like the feel is like it's redonkulous. Imagine adding this to a hi-hat feel that's just repetitive. MIDI track, not too much going on, just program, no velocity changes. This is how you get your shit sounding a little bit more interesting, a little bit more of a groove and a feel. Okay, so if you think that's it, no, let's go in, let's add a little bit more coolness to it. Okay, so you guys know about this plugin that I've used before, done a few classes and a little bit of tutorials about this, but this is an awesome plugin. Another one by Waves. I was promised not sponsored by Waves, but just does the stuff and it uses hardware gear and it sounds freaking amazing. So let's use it where we can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to boost 100 Hertz. If you don't know what these are doing, follow my other videos. If not, I'll give you a quick example. So what I'm going to do now is boost 100 Hertz. And this attenuation is going to add a little bit of a cleanup factor. So I'm adding 100 Hertz, but I don't want all the other bullshit around it. So that's going to clean it up. This is the low end, this is the high end. I'm not worried about that just yet. Going to turn the analog mains off. Waves, please hook me up. So right now I'm just pulling back the output of the plugin so it doesn't distort and go crazy. Alright, so as you can see, I've just added some crazy low end to it, sounding big. Let's do something else to make the drums pop a little bit more because I've pushed the low end in. Let's make the percussion and the snare make it a bit more. So I'm just boosting 5K here and just making the Q value of the track, which is the bandwidth, a little bit more broader. So let's start with that. Alright, cool. So we can either say that that shit's mixed, or we can go, let's tweak a little bit more. So let's tweak a little bit more. Here I'm going to add a EQ just to clean up some frequencies that I don't want in the mix. So I like the bigness and the tightness of the drums, but I want to make it even more tighter. So what I want to do is just clean frequencies away that I don't need. So my usual stuff, let's go. 300 Hertz as a peak, not a shelf. Let's cut that out. 500 Hertz, let's take that out. So I'm going to bypass it and put it in. See what you guys think. You can almost hear it when you hear that little like sort of tom bit where it almost gets tighter rather than sort of like expanding so much. So right now I'm just controlling these frequencies because later on I know I'm going to be adding other elements into my track that will fill out that. So right now I'm just being a little bit more strategic, making it work a little bit differently. Now I'm sort of subtracting my EQ. So now I'm doing more surgical EQs. So the first thing I did was added some stuff, brought the drums and loop to life with my expander, had a little bit more low end punch, and then cleaned out stuff I don't need. Let's put this back in the track and see what happens.
I tried to paint the perfect picture. Say what? There was me, there was you, there was happy ever after. Yeah, I left black, he left white, we much like a polka dot poster. Yeah, girl.
So far that's just all I've added. Bit of EQ, bit of movement to it, another bit of EQ to add a little bit of oomph, and just taking away some frequencies that I don't need in the track. But you can sort of hear, hopefully through the examples as I bypassed that and made it active, that you can hear what's sort of going on through the track. If not, rewind and you'll get some shit back. Let me do another cool thing that's a little bit more creative. Because I want to show you a little bit more about, just besides the technical bullshit that we do, how to make things move and breathe a little bit more. But I first learnt this from Richard Lush, who was like a Beatles engineer back in the day. That was my first test run, Electric Avenue here in Sydney, when I was in that studio working, and I'd never forget it. But have a listen to this. This will blow your mind. This is a 1176 by Universal Audio called British Mode. If you don't have the actual hardware gear or plugin, check out the standard Pro Tools plugin that has it, or check out the CLA 76. Boom, awesome. But have a look at this. This will make it move and feel a certain way that the other compressors don't do. Distressors emulate it, but man, this is awesome. Have a look. So what I'm doing now is sending these two tracks into this track here, which I'm processing. Got my EQ, got my expander, I've got my Pultec EQ. Now I've got a frequency taker rather than a giver. Now With all that combined, I'm sending this to this track. So that's going to be in addition to what you hear here. So this is like a parallel. If you don't know what it is, hit me up in the comments and blah blah blah. You know what's going on. Can you hear that hiss straight away? Imagine that shit times like 40, 50 tracks. Shit's gonna be really loud. Waves, leave it off. Alright, so you got some ratios here. Your compression works a little bit differently. If you don't know, have a look at some of the other videos I've done. If not, I'll make a specific video about this. But briefly, the more you input, the more you compress. When you do that, this plays in effect, your ratio. Output is your final stage, and then you've got your attack and release. But that's a quick attack, that's a slow attack. It's opposite to what you think. This mode, if you press shift and click all, notice all these buttons get selected. This is a very unique feature of the Yuri 1176. This is what's called British mode, where you push all the buttons in, or if you can try, push all the buttons in and hopefully they all stick in. And it adds some weird, I don't know, it just adds some really cool shit that's distorted, funky, but it makes it sound like Pump and Breathe, like in a totally different way. Really cool. Have a listen to the drums. Apologies, mind your ears, it's gonna get crazy. I'll turn this down. Mind your ears, mind the speakers, but shit's gonna get wild. Ready? Here we go. Alright guys, for all the geeks out there, yeah, it's louder, it's crazy, whatever. But have a listen to the snare and what it's actually adding to it. Like the feel that it's adding. It's like, rather than going like boom, I'm going boom, boom. And you can hear the like resonance of it bring out. So let's do it. Do you hear what I mean? Like that feel that it adds, it's ridiculous. Now let me add this back into the track and let me bypass it and add it in. But don't focus on the level. Think about the feel, what it's adding to the track. That's what I'm going for. Let's have a listen.
I tried to paint the perfect picture.
Alright, if it's adding frequencies you don't need, be a bad boy, get rid of it. Don't need that, I don't need the 10K, that's too much attack. Let me introduce this back in. Guys, I've just messed around with this, seriously, I was going to swear, but just really messed around with a loop, added a few plugins, added a parallel, which added a groove to the track that made it feel a little bit different. I just started with this shit, I haven't even messed with the bass and whatever, I just did a rough balance. Imagine once I start getting through this process, what you're going to be fucking listening to. Oops, shit. Damn it. Anyway, you can see and feel what I'm doing. So next thing I'm going to mess around with is the bass, but I'm going to catch you up on that next. If you like it, please, like, subscribe, blah, 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 just sharing the knowledge base of just getting stuff out that I've learned over the years to people. So hopefully you enjoy it, hopefully you like it, and hopefully you get something out of it. And you know what? Inspire other people to do this shit. Music is universal and it's beautiful. So let's catch you next time. Let's catch you with it. And let's hopefully inspire some people. Alright, peace. This is G. Out.